seems like everybody has the perception that you were the guy that got, the better locations and the comforts and all that kind of stuff. Does that bother you that you're perceived to have been the favorite from the beginning, and now, sort of things that were tilted toward you? Or
Yeah, you know what? Me being the favorite from the beginning is, I would have to say that, it seemed that, things were being catered to the Europeans, if anything. They were the favorites. All the Europeans. You had Kessler as a number one, you had Abraham as a number two favorite, and you had Froch'S as the wild card. They didn't expect, me or Darrell or Jermaine, for that matter, to make any noise. We were put in the tournament, I believe, just to make it interesting. So there's only a problem because I'm winning. That's where the problem comes in, because I've won. Now, if I would have lost against Kessler, as expected, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Now, even if I went on to win a couple more fights, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But if you look at the record, Froch'S fought at Trent FM Arena in Nottingham 12 times. I've fought in Oakland 4. And I understand that with the whole Super 6, but I'm also the only individual who had two tough contenders that were put in as replacements. I'm the only fighter, but nobody brings that up. Nobody says anything about me being the only one. I'm the only one that fought at home in the tournament, but I'm also the only one who had two replacements who didn't really have the namesake. Alan Green being from Oklahoma, we're not going to Oklahoma to fight, so we had to bring it to Oakland. And Bika, being from Cameroon and living in Sydney, we're not going to Sydney, so we had to bring it to Oakland. So it's just the way the cookie crumbled. I don't think it's any favoritism.
Do you think there's any added pressure, being that you was the favorite going into the tournament? And if there was any pressure, how did you deal with that?
Me being the favorite?
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I never looked at myself like I was the favorite. I've always looked at myself based on what I read, based on what I heard, that I was the underdog. And going in, I felt like I was the underdog, and should have been, because I hadn't really done much up until that point except beat Edison Miranda. So I didn't look at it as disrespect. I just looked at it at, like it was my time to show the world what I had. In terms of now, and some people saying I'm the favorite and not the favorite, I'll be honest, I appreciate it, but it means absolutely nothing.
Can you talk a little bit about just your growth in this tournament?
Thank you, sir.
I mean, you've gone from, like you said, a guy that people looked at as the only meaningful fight you had was the Edison Miranda, to now you're probably number 4, number 5 on the pound-for-pound best list. Can you talk about going from that point and how much you've grown and what the tournament sort of just meant for you?
I think that I've grown a tremendous amount in this last 2 years in this tournament. I think the American public has had an opportunity to see, a lot of my growth as a fighter, as a man, being on Fight Camp 360 and giving them another glimpse of, who I am outside of the ring, something they probably wouldn't have gotten without that show. So I'm just thankful to be a part of it, man, and I'm thankful for the opportunity. But you're absolutely right. A lot of growth has taken place over the last 2 years.
Andre, you're obviously an Olympic gold medalist, but in addition to that, the belts, the cup in this tournament, is there a sense of national pride being from the U.S. and fighting the U.K. guys and being the victor in this tournament?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's something that gets lost in this whole shuffle. I've always been a very patriotic person. It's no accident that I wore red, white, and blue in the Kessler fight, and I'm planning to wear red, white, and blue in this fight because it means that much to me. This is, Super 6 is on the line, obviously all the belts that are on the line, but it's also the United States versus the UK. That's how I look at it.
Andre, again, being that American fighters don't get the real credit that they deserve, how important do you put on bringing the championship back to the United States and putting American fighters back on that mantle that should belong?
Well, I think it's extremely important, and I want to be one of the fighters who's the forerunner and who has the opportunity to bring boxing back. I know I can't do it all by myself, but be one of the ones who can bring boxing back in America. And also, I want to prove that there's always a good guy and a bad guy. And Carl wants to play the bad guy, and I'll play the good guy. And I want to just show the young fighters out there that you don't have to always be the bad guy in order to be successful. We're gonna show them that the good guy can finish first. He doesn't always finish last. And just these opportunities right here that I have are just just something that I take very seriously. And of course, to answer your question, keeping the belts here and winning this Super 6 Cup.
What about
about his comments about the knockout and being critical about your opposition over your career? He's been critical of you. Does that bother you at all? Just the fact that he's made those comments.
Well, it bothers me in the right way. It bothers me in terms of saying, okay, come October 29th, we'll see. And that's the beauty of boxing. We have a date. So he can say what he wants to say. That's what his side, the left side of the room, that's what they're supposed to do. That's what his promoter got hired just recently and is left to do, is to pump him up, call him a legend, call him great. Neither one of us have done anything to be called legends yet, or to be called great. Nothing. We're on our way, hopefully, to get into that realm, but he's not there yet. So Carl Froch'S strength is his bravado, but that's also going to be his weakness in his downfall.
Andre, do you think you do your best against fighters like Froch'S, that are aggressive and that try to, muscle you in and try to beat you up?
Well, it's called rising to the occasion. That's what my dad used to call it. And when I fight a fighter who, talks the way he talks, feels the way he feels about me, I love it. And that's why I made the comment when the reporter asked me, because, it's not that I wasn't motivated against other guys. I've always been motivated from day one, because if you really think about it, every fight has been huge for me. Because if any fighter knocks off an Olympic gold medalist, they've taken my position. So every fight has been huge. It's had huge ramifications, win or lose. So I absolutely relish these moments fighting guys like Froch'S. Absolutely.
You think it's a little bit of a disrespect by him just saying, hey, I'm going to knock this guy out. If I hit him once, he's going to go flat?
Well, I don't know. I mean, this is boxing, so it's hard to, it's hard to say it's disrespectful. But, at the same time, I've watched and studied Froch'S. I've listened to his comments, and he talks like that about everybody. So, I don't take it personal. I just know it's go time.
Now, being that he questioned your power, do you think that's just some kind of way that he's trying to make you come forward to make him look good? Or do you think that he's really, degrading your aspect of fighting, being that you don't have any power?
I don't know what he believes. I'm sure he probably believes that, but it's probably a psychological ploy as well. He tries to play into the psyche of his opponents, and he's been quoted, I believe, as saying that he's reading The Art of War. And but for the record, my coach read that book 4 or 5 years ago. But that's neither here nor there. I think he thinks he's going to get into my head and cause me to question myself. But what he has to understand is I've been boxing for over a decade as an amateur and a pro. And like I said in the press conference, he's not the first guy that said that. He won't be the last. He has to come better than that with his comments if he's going to, detour me from my task. I don't have to repeat myself over and over. I don't have to. He's got some great one-liners, but at the end of the day, that stuff doesn't win fights. It doesn't. He has to understand that his bravado is is external. He likes to show it. But me, I'm more internal. I'm already in fight mode right now. We're 9.5 weeks away, so it doesn't have to be said. It just has to be shown.
What about when he bumped you? I noticed he bumped you.
He did bump me, didn't he?
Yeah, that's why I asked you.
But I didn't try to reach my hand out though. I didn't try to shake his hand. That's for the record.
For a little bit when I was asking that question.
Why do you think he bumped you?
Well, he needs to stop bumping me. Because I felt that. But again, it goes back to him trying to intimidate me. It's no different than when we shook hands after his fight. He tries to squeeze my hand. It's like, bro, come on. It's not going to work, man. You squeezing my hand and bumping me is not going to stop me from, my mission that I'm on. He's just not going to do it.
Who's another fighter in your career who really tried to intimidate you like this guy, like Froch'S?
I think most of them have, even before I got, to the championship level. I mean, I've had guys, Henry Buchanan, he's a Maryland guy. I fought him in Fresno, and this guy just stared at me the whole time. Whenever I saw him, he would just, if we were in a restaurant, he would just stare. I'm like, what is this dude looking at? And he would just stare at me with this mean mug, like, Edison Miranda, Alan Green, Beaker feeling like he was just going to come in there and just have his way. Kessler being, very cocky and just all this young kid I haven't watched tape. And it dates back to the amateurs. I would have young fighters come up and see me fight and say, oh, this is Ward, this is the #1 guy. Oh, he's nothing. I've dealt with this my whole career because for whatever reason, and I can draw a similar reference to Floyd Mayweather. You look at him and he's not, well, I don't really see. I mean, he's got some speed. I'm sure he hits, hard. He's got the record, but I'm gonna do. It looks one way, but then they get in there and it's no fun. It's not the kind of fun that they thought it was gonna be. Now that being said, I respect every opponent. I do. I respect every opponent. It's just the way I am. I don't know how to be cocky and not respect this guy, him or anybody. I respect the guys from day one. That's the way I was raised. But that also causes me to prepare the right way. And if you date back to the Sugar Ray Robinsons, even the Sugar Ray Leonard, he had his moments, but boxing was a gentleman's sport. Those guys didn't push each other and put on a spectacle, in the midst of a press conference. But they would go in there and handle their business. Sugar Ray Robinson is a monster, but he was a gentleman. So what I'm saying is, I understand the era that we're in, this UFC era, this MMA era, and I am a fan of MMA for the record. I'm not bashing MMA, but we're in a different era, so people think it's not exciting if that doesn't happen. Well, that's not true. The man that I am and that I show you guys today in 2011 is somebody I want to be proud to look back on 10 and 20 years from now. I want to be able to show my kids these clips and say, look at your dad. So when I tell them, hey man, pull your pants up, speak respectfully, and go get a job, or hey man, go handle your business, I want them to look back and say, excuse me, say my dad did the same thing. So it's bigger than this. What I'm trying to do is bigger than boxing, and it's bigger than this event. It's the man that I want to be. It's not a front, it's just who I am.
Holyfield, Pete Sampras, a lot of champions like that carry themselves with the class.
That's the way I was raised. So
What about
I can't speak for the next one.
What about after this tournament's over? I mean, you've been here for golf for 2 years. I mean, how much time off will you take afterwards? What are your thoughts
time
on
off. Yeah, rest. Rest.
How much time off would you
I
think
don't
you'll
know.
take afterwards?
It's hard to say. It's easy to, in the midst of the struggle, in the midst of the bumps and bruises, to say you're gonna take a long time. I can't. It's hard to stay away from this sport, especially at my age. I don't. Who knows how things are gonna turn out? But hopefully I give myself 3 to 5 years in this sport. I'm 27. I feel like I'm getting close to my prime. I don't feel I'm there yet. But I would love to. The ideal situation is to bow to this sport at 32, 33 years old when I still have a lot left and people are asking me why. But in terms of competition, I don't know. I'm eating, sleeping, and drinking Carl Froch right now until, October 29th is over.
Andre, talking about after boxing, you did some guest commentating spot on
Yes.
ESPN, and you were very well received.
Thank you.
Talk about any future aspirations to go into boxing broadcasting after you're done.
Yeah, I love it, man. I have a passion for broadcasting. I really do. I don't necessarily like being on TV, but I love broadcasting, and I know that comes with it. And I love to prep and prepare for the night. And of course, I got the best seat in the house, and I get to talk about a sport that I've been involved in and a sport that I love. And it's just a natural fit, and I would love to do it while I'm boxing and also when I retire.
You've made a couple of comments, I don't know, good or bad here, about Floyd Mayweather, and you seem to take a very different approach to life and to the sport and your public image than he does. Or do you consider yourself sort of almost like the anti-Floyd Mayweather?
I wouldn't say that. Floyd Mayweather is who he is, and Andre Ward is who he is. All I know is that inside the ring, I respect Floyd Mayweather, and he's one of my favorite fighters. And he should be respected as a great now, not when he's retired. We should respect him now because he's a legend and he's a future Hall of Famer. And that's just the bottom line. And he is the master until somebody proves otherwise.
Andre, a lot of people like to compare you, like Floyd Mayweather style and Bernard Hopkins style, kind of molded together. What do you have to say about that?
I think it's accurate. I don't think I try to do it. I just think, I have an old school trainer. I have a trainer in Virgil Hunter, 56 years old. He comes from the old school, and a lot of guys today, they don't serve an apprenticeship to become trainers. They just decide they want to do it, and they go get a fighter. And in his day, you weren't able to do that. You would not be able to come into a gym and just either bring a fighter or pick a fighter and start training them. It just wasn't going to happen. So he served his apprenticeship. He served his just due. And I just have an old school style. And, I feel like I'm going to get better. And that's the thing. I don't know how much better Carl Froch can be at 32 years old, but I feel like I still have room to grow at 27. And just putting in the works, doing the drills in the gym, and, hoping that on fight night we get our hand raised.
I think because you have this old school style that you've been able to do well in this tournament?
I think yeah, absolutely. I think that I think that it's definitely helped me. I think that I get a lot more respect from the, I feel like I get a lot of respect from my peers in general, but a lot of the old school fighters, they come up and they whisper in my ear and say, man, I saw what you did, or man, I like the way you did this. They respect it because that's the school of boxing that I come from, and I want to master the sport. I want to master the sport, and even though it's never easy, I want to make it look easy. And those are the guys that I've grown up watching: the Sugar Ray Robinsons, the Salvador Sanchez's, the Floyd Mayweathers, Bernard Hopkins, Muhammad Ali. In big fights, they specialize in neutralizing their opponent's strength and exploiting their weaknesses.
Dre, you said kind of the old school mixed with a little new jack right now as well. Is this kind of like culminate your fight style, would you say?
Absolutely. I just try to be myself. When you're younger, you try to emulate guys, and I don't want to be the next anybody, though I respect the guys that have gone before me, and I pay homage to them every chance I get through the media or in person, but I just want to be the first Andre Ward, and whatever I do in the sport and whatever I become, I just want to be myself.
By the way, I'm sorry. There's always sometimes a bitter taste in people's mouth. Now, you just said, I'm taking from your words, I've been eating, sleeping, Carl Froch. How's that tasting in my
And drinking.
And drinking, Carl Froch. What does that taste like?
It's kind of bitter, man, to be honest with you.
You did a great job as announcer, by the way, Les. I don't know if
I
anybody's
appreciate it.
You did a great job. And
Can I finish this question real quick?
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bitter. It won't be sweet until it's over with.
I mean, it's been a long road, man, to get here. I mean, a lot of topsy-turvy tournament, to say the least, but it doesn't matter where the fight is. It doesn't matter whether it's in England, whether it's in the U.S. It's in that square ring is where it really counts.
It doesn't matter what the fight is. I mean, Dan put it on the record and said that I've actually called Dan for the Green fight and the Biga fight. I said, hey, man, let's try to go somewhere else. But this is a business, so they're going to go where the fight is going to sell. So if the fans and the media knew what was going on, and that's no knock on my hometown, I wanted to leave and then come back. But if the fans knew that, then maybe they wouldn't say some of the things that they've said. And they're going to build Froch up to be this monster. They're going to build him up to be this warrior who doesn't ask any questions. Well, but he's on the record online as complaining about not fighting at home enough in this tournament. Threatening to pull out, threatening not to fight. That doesn't seem like the guy that they just described. But because I don't say this stuff, and I'm not on, every website explaining it day in and day out, people think that it doesn't exist. Well, I sit back and I study. I've watched Carl Froch long before he got into this tournament. His mannerism, his conversation, and of course his fighting style. So I know what I'm getting into, and I've studied this sport for many, many years, and this is the way it goes. They build guys up, and I'm not saying he's not everything that they're saying. I don't believe he's everything that they're saying, but he should be respected. But he's not the guy that they're saying he is in terms of, not asking questions to go abroad. He's happy. This is the reality of the situation. With all due respect to the European countries, they have to come here to become stars. We don't have to go there. And they've said that themselves. So you can't really look at it like he's doing us a favor by coming here. They have to come here. Joe Calzaghe understood this, and the other fighters that fight abroad or that live abroad understood this. So it's part of what he has to do. Now, maybe the shoe would be, if I had to go to the UK to be relevant and to prove that, hey man, I'm not, just fighting, domestically, I'm more than that, then maybe the shoe would be on the other foot, but he has to come here. I didn't make up the rules, that's just the way it is.
Well, fighting domestically, obviously, to win a gold medal, you had to fight abroad quite a bit to win a gold medal. The bottom line is, my last question would be, you won your gold, you won your WBA. Anything sweeter than that green belt over there on that counter?
Yeah, I really want that BC. I really want the BC, and I really want the Ring Magazine belt. And of course, I want to, keep my BA belt and defend that belt. And the Super 6 Cup would be a nice addition as well. So I appreciate him feeling the way he feels, but I feel the same way. Now, and I appreciate your comments, sir, about the telecast. Thank you.
Randy Gordon, I'm the former commissioner of New York.
Is that right?
And the former editor of Ring Magazine, so it makes me proud that you're
Wow.
going after the belt. You heard me ask the question before about the officials. I know it's going to be a great fight. If it goes 12 rounds, whatever it goes, I want to see great officiating. I've always been concerned about it. Are you concerned at all about the refereeing or the judging?
Absolutely. I think that's a legitimate concern for any fighter, whether you're fighting at home or fighting abroad. I mean, and this is for the record. I never want to get my hand raised if I didn't win. I wouldn't be able to live with that. And I hope I believe it's going to be fair and everything like that. And I think that New Jersey's going to do a great job, but I share the same sentiments that you have. I share the same concerns. I watched the Mares and Becco fight. I saw the situation with the judges, with the Paul Williams. But the judges got suspended, so that's always a concern because a referee who likes a particular style doesn't let you work the way you like to work, or a judge who sees things a particular way can influence the night and change the night. So I hope it's fair. I believe it's going to be fair, and we just got to go from there.
Champ, best of luck on the 29th.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Froch'S just said you're a dirty fighter. How do you respond to that?
Well, that's his opinion. That's his opinion. So get your microphones ready, get your laptops out, and get ready to write. Because he'll probably say something else from now until fight time. I've heard it before. It's not the first time they've said that.
It's not the first time you've heard him say it either.
Right. But on one hand, he's saying that I fight on my back foot. I'm not this. He's too he's too strong. He's too aggressive for me. And then I'm dirty. I mean, which one is it? I mean, I don't know. But at the end of the day, I have to do what I have to do. Nothing he's saying is taking me in a different direction or changed my focus. It's just not. So he's gonna have to come better with that. And my hope is that, and I understand what he's doing too. He's not just shooting at me, but he wants to put that out in the air for the potential referees and the judges too. And my hope is that, and my belief is that the referees and the judges will have a clear mind and still be able to officiate and judge a fight accordingly. This is boxing. This is not a tennis match. This is not track, though I respect those sports. This is boxing. Things happen. But do I intentionally go out there and do things? No, I've been on the wrong side of headbutts. I've been on the wrong side of elbows. I got the scars to prove it right here, right here. I've been on the wrong side of those. I don't know how to headbutt a guy without putting myself in danger of getting cut. I don't know how. It just happened. But he's going to take every little thing he can and oh, look at, I could do the same thing, but I'm not. We have a date, October 29th, Atlantic City, New Jersey, Boardwalk Hall, for all the marbles. That's all that means.